Third story. It's a bit of a philosophical one, Peter. I am pretty pissed off by constantly hearing this term, late stage capitalism. Late stage capitalism. This is classic signs of late stage capitalism. This is what happens at the end of an empire. You've heard of this, yes?
Oh yeah, all the
Just
time.
constantly, all the time. Right? All right, give me one quick second here. So the problem with late stage capitalism is that you have stuff like the characteristics of a late stage capitalism. Do you know some of them?
Inflation,
Not necessarily.
war.
Okay, so you don't know
Um,
them. Let me just tell you. So you have extreme wealth inequality. Well, capitalism sends money to those who have and take it away from those who have not, and then you have this gap. And what you need is a uprising from the proletariat class in order to take control of the means of production, and then everything will be great. Corporate dominance. So the corporations become so large that they end up being basically in charge of the government and of policy. Financialization. So you have this thing where the economies shift all towards capital acquisition to the detriment of everything else. Environmental concerns, social concerns, health concerns, all kinds of stuff, and all towards the almighty dollar.
so
This is
far,
the
you're
problem with
describing
capitalism,
exactly what's going on. Just so you know, if you're trying to
right?
debunk, you're describing exactly what's been happening.
You get consumerism on steroids because you get this just this consumption based economy, especially as dollars become the most important thing. You get precarious labor. Labor becomes you get less. You don't have unions. You don't have the worker doesn't have as much authority. Jobs get exported overseas, bidding for the lowest dollar, and it's a race towards the bottom as far as the quality of life is concerned. Before you could have one person as the head of a bringing in the money for a family. Now you need two. The idea is by the end you'll need five and roommates in order to get even that going. You have lower birth rates because people can't afford. Environment goes bad. The public commons go bad. All this alienation, discontent, crisis again and again, volatility, blah blah blah. Late stage capital.
This is the worst debunking I've ever heard.
Well, it sounds exactly the system we're in right now, right?
It is. That is the system we're in, 100%.
Absolutely, absolutely, completely agree. Let me ask you, Peter. In a monarchy, you know what the signs are of late stage monarchy?
Okay.
Redistribution of wealth. Those who have more. Those who have not have less. You're born into success. You don't have to earn it. Sounds a lot like inheritance. You have the quality of the goods that are produced that have become worse and worse because money's not put towards innovation as hedonism and corruption abound in the aristocracy inside the monarchy. You have shifts within the labor. Basically, I'm going to name all the things I just said before are the same sort of things you see in late stage monarchy.
But who cares? Who cares if it's a late stage capitalism, late stage monarchy?
Peter, I know your simple mind can't tell why it matters. I'm going to bring you there, little baby boy. Just let me take it. What do you think are the symptoms of late stage communism? Let me give you a hint. Exactly the same sorts of things. Do you know why? Because it's not late stage capitalism. It's late stage corruption. Corruption has these effects. That's what these systems do. Now, before we dive more down that road, or the reason why this matters, is that what we're dealing with is the idea that it has to do with the world economic system, the Eurodollar system, the global reserve system of the US dollar. And previously, when you had individual countries or regions that had these sorts of issues, they would just crumble themselves and they would be taken over or whatever, and that would be it. Now, because we have a global system, it's the first time we have in our recorded history. I'm sure it happened before with
Atlantis.
whoever was here before the yeah, the ice age or during, um, that the whole system is synchronized in such a way that this might spread abroad and collapse the entire global system.
Right. So there's no conqueror that can come in and control alt delete
Aliens. This is why we're afraid of aliens and monsters.
and AI.
Well, because you remember the at first, what you have is when towns and cities first started, the danger was outside. The whole reason you did towns and cities is in order to protect yourself from the outside danger.
Right.
And so you had this unified force. Then our cities and our systems became so stable that the outside became more nebulous until now it's not there is no outside, just a series of insides that you're moving towards. And so now you're just fighting inwards. You forgot about this outside threat. And so you get this sort of like the purpose of the existence of that tribe, of that city or whatever is lost, and you're sort of aimless, and then people sort of like fight each other because they're all geared up biologically to fight against some outside force.
Right.
So what we're having here is it's actually this train wreck of a thing with multiple things are colliding. You have this world system on a global dollar, and you have late stage corruption all happening during the fourth turning all at the same time over here. So I just wanted to play a couple of clips here because what I've been finding very interesting. I keep waiting for some people that I respect to jump on video and like explain this sort of idea. Ken Carson does this to some degree, actually to a great degree. But what I'm finding is that I want to see it in popular culture. If I talk about Ken Carson to somebody, they have no idea what I'm talking about. But Elon Musk on Rogan or Tucker Carlson or something like that, they're like, hey, I know I've heard about that, and something might seep into their minds. So I just want to play a couple of clips from the Luke Groman Tucker Carlson interview, and then the Elon Musk Joe Rogan interview yesterday. I think it dropped, and I want to point out the seeds of they don't know what they're talking about, but they're actually describing this late stage corruption. All right, 1 second here.
Well, before you do this, what is the value of shifting your belief that it's late stage capitalism to late stage corruption? I feel like it won't matter to the people who believe in late stage capitalism. They think the corruption is coming to it's coming to an end, and that's their point.
Well, I don't really. If for those who have already made up their minds like that, I don't mind.
I just mean,
What I
what's the
want.
point in shifting this belief? Isn't the
Oh,
outcome the
because there's
same?
massive profits to be made if you understand what we're actually shifting to and what solutions can actually be remedies to this.
So, what do they think they're shifting to if you believe in late stage capitalism? To communism?
Communism, yes.
And you're saying we're not going to go to communism if you can do anything about it. But if King Trump stops it, then what are we shifting to? Or do you want to
Crypto
save this?
AI. Whatever new system is
What was
crypto
that?
AI, new crypto and AI, whatever new system that we can define that has to do with those two things together
Hmm,
will be part of the plumbing of what's coming next. And if you invest
interesting.
in those now, you'll have generational wealth.
Hmm.
Crypto AI, robotics, all this whole innovation thing that I'm talking
What
about.
I find interesting is that at least the people that I've talked to or have interacted or seen online who believe in late stage capitalism and communism as a solution, they are completely against crypto and AI.
Yeah,
Like they
because
don't
they
want to
see
hear
that as
any
super capital.
right. So you're saying they're about to lose big time. Like if they think they're unequal and at the bottom of the ladder now, they're definitely going to be at the bottom in the new paradigm.
No, because the corruption is accelerated by the rapidity of change. So this is why the fourth turning could be such a catalytic event, is that there's a lot of change that happens quickly, and corruption needs time in order to breed. And so if a corrupting force takes effect over 1 to 3 turnings, like longer than you can actually maintain attention, then it can take root. But if it happens bam, 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 bang, 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 all together, all of a sudden people go, whoa, 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 whoa. And their natural inclination is let's flip this table, let's start chopping off the heads of these French people and just let's figure it out on the backside,
Hmm,
which is not the solution.
right.
That, my friend, is what we call the start of the dark ages. Let us not do that. Let us take a page from history and understand there's another way, which is introducing within the corrupted system an antidote. So it's this cleansing light, the Doge, if you will, of to the system in order to broadcast what's happening, and then the antibodies within the system, which are already prepared, people like me and other great people like me and Charles Hoskinson and Elon Musk can go ahead and root out some of the muck.
And you're saying if that happens, then that will benefit everyone, and there won't be
Everyone,
anybody at the bottom of the ladder?
absolutely, absolutely. Because what I'll do is that it'll still make quadrillionaires, but the floor will drastically rise up.
Right.
Because in the same way that Cardano was down and then got released a little bit because of the Trump election and then released again with it being mentioned, there's a baseline for what the low should have that is actually way higher than we are right now,
All right.
which eventually ends up being boring and then you get more corruption down the line. So I just want to play these couple of things because I did talk about this a little bit on Traders Post last Friday. If you want to go check out that episode with me and Mike Christensen on Traders Post, we do go a little bit about this, but we're talking about the gold aspect of what of the monetary system. But I wanted to talk about the late stage capitalism component.
So give us a sense of where gold is flowing in the world right now, to the extent we know.
To the extent what we can see, I would describe it simply as from the UK and the EU to a lesser extent into the US. It's still flowing into China. It flows into China all the time. But the big delta, the big change since the Trump election, essentially, has been a significant ramp up in the flows of gold out of the UK into the US.
So that would seem good for the US.
Yeah, historically, when you see where gold is flowing, that's your economic winner. That's who's winning. And where the countries that are losing gold, those are the countries that are losing. That goes back several hundred years. That's sort of how it works, which makes sense, right?
Several thousand years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the first hint there, that the gold is starting to flow towards economic powers. That generally happens when they know or suspect there's going to be some sort of switch to the financial system or danger to the financial system. All right, now we jump to the how is gold valued? This is what I want you to hear here.
What about, so gold is almost hovering at about 3,000, a little under 3,000 an ounce. It's clearly going to make it to 3,000, I would guess. Is there a threshold at which, like, it becomes, because there's a lot of gold actually on the Earth's crust, a lot, and it's just too expensive to extract it. But is there a threshold at which, like, gold production just ramps up dramatically? It becomes worth it to, like, extract a lot more gold, and it affects the price because of supply and demand.
Yes, is ultimately its supply will be a function of price, and then there's a lot of it in the ocean, right? In theory, if you sort of dry out the oceans and filter it, you could, and that's just a question of price, and the question of price is ultimately a question of energy efficiency, right? If you wanted to, that's how much energy do you need to expend to dig and get that out of the crust where it is and refine it down so that it makes sense. And right now it's going to cost you way more in energy in order to get that. And so you're not going to do that. And so if price goes up enough, then it makes sense for you to expend that amount of energy to do that. And I think that's a really important point that ties back to our stock to flow and why gold is valuable. When you think of it in those terms of is where you need to expend a lot of energy to get gold, and the price of gold determines how much energy you're willing to expend to get it. It's just a compressed and portable storage of energy.
What does that sound like?
Bitcoin.
Exactly. And so gold here, he's describing it as if this is a very effective way of storing a unit of energy. But because we have to mine actual physical gold, there's a limitation to who can do it and a concentration of this gold towards certain players. Of all the gold that's in the world, almost none of it is in the hands of the population.
Except in India, which they have a ton of gold in the population.
No, it doesn't compare to the thousands of tons that
of course,
banks have.
Of course.
And
so that raises a deeper and more fundamental question, which is, do the great powers have a built-in incentive to keep energy prices higher than they would naturally be in a truly free market?
Depends which great power, right? The Chinese, all else equal, want to build a consumer society. They would like to have energy prices cheaper. America, we like cheap oil, but not as cheap as we used to like it, because now we have shale. So we want Goldilocks oil. So, above $90 starts to be a problem for our consumer. Below $70 starts to be a problem for our shale industry. And so if you look at the price of West Texas crude, WTI crude oil over the last 2-3 years now, oil's been 70 to 90. And I think that's so, like, we need Goldilocks oil. The Europeans, same kind of thing. They need a cheaper oil. The Russians, they would probably like more expensive oil. The Saudis, Saudi has $90 fiscal break even.
Right.
Anything below 90, they're borrowing money, and things get spicy over there if they don't maintain their promises to their people.
Spicy.
So, but
things get spicy. What a way to put it.
So the idea here is that it's actually energy that's the thing we're actually transacting in, and gold is a proxy for that. So it's not that energy helps us gets gold. Gold helps us transport energy across time. Now I sound like Michael Saylor talking about Bitcoin, right? That's what it is.
You do.
And the energy, you see how he's only talking about energy in terms of price, right? Below 70 to 90, only in terms of price, not in terms of what it can do. And the reason it's talking about it in terms of price is that the system is based on dollars, right? The US dollar is the thing that everyone actually wants. Why does Saudi Arabia want oil at $90? Because it needs the dollars to settle its debt to provide comforts to their people for programs or whatever it is. All these different countries, they need the dollars to do it, right? They need the dollars. And because there's a lack of dollars, then there's a scramble for dollars, right? So before I just finish off with my last point, I just want to show you the Elon Musk interview where he talks about with Rogan this idea that he has to be careful about how hard he pokes the bear.
It's like I actually have to be careful that I don't push too hard on the corruption stuff because it's going to get me killed. Yeah. It's like I was actually thinking about that on the plane flight over here. It's like if I push too hard on the corruption stuff, people get desperate. Is the issue,
right?
Then they say like, okay, if the money flow cuts off, then okay, they can't afford school for their kids,
right?
Then they're gonna like, well, fuck you, I'm gonna kill you for my kids, type of thing.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, geez. Okay.
Did you ever see that video?
All right. And then this last part.
That's dark.
I know.
That is dark. I mean, I always wondered how these guys are going so hard at the system. I mean, why aren't they dead yet? Not that I want them to be dead. Just why aren't they dead yet? I guess they didn't ruffle enough.
He's not pushing hard enough to really do that yet.
So
but
what is hard enough? What level is hard enough?
He doesn't know.
They haven't even gone to the Pentagon.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's its last clip.
Yeah. Well, it also we just have a real issue with the budget deficit. It's gigantic. So, like if all things being equal, if we didn't have a gigantic budget deficit where interest payments, the interest on the national debt exceeds the Defense Department budget, which is truly astounding. Which means we're paying over $1 trillion of interest on the national debt. Then okay, we would have more room for wasting money, basically. But when we're spending so much money that the country is going bankrupt, then we really need to stop spending money unless we're sure it is good value.
So it's
all right. So did you hear there? It's not the wasting of the money that's the issue. It's the corruption that's the issue. Right? The wasting of the money goes, well, we have the country has an unlimited credit card. We have the world reserve currency. We can literally print as much money as we want. But the issue is that the interest payments have now exceeded the military budget. The military budget, the biggest line item in the US government, is dwarfed by the interest payments. Why? Why would the interest payments be so important? Because the interest payments are dollars flowing to the outside. It's the dollar system that matters. It's a dollar that affects the availability of dollars to help Maui and fire victims and tornado victims. They need that money elsewhere.
Wait, so
It's
what
the
do you
money
mean
that
the money's flowing outside? Where are the interest payments being paid to?
to bondholders, people who lend the U.S. government money, then
How is this?
require an interest payment.
Yeah, so how is this bad? I thought you said the world needs dollars and that's good.
Yes, the world needs dollars, but we have this Triffin's dilemma where there's never enough dollars to satisfy all the obligations. It's a game of musical chairs.
Okay, I'm still not clear on the interest payments to the debt. So the interest payments to the debt, that's not burning money, that's creating dollars.
Well, it's creating liquidity. It doesn't actually create dollars. What creates dollars in our debt-based system is the value of collateral going up. So your house that you buy for $100,000 goes up to $250,000 worth. Well, then you can then extract that equity and then buy $150,000 worth of productivity services, whatever, and that money is new money that's in the system.
Okay, so but if you're paying interest on the debt, that money is going to bondholders. Those bondholders are happy now because they have more dollars, and then they can use those. They can extract that equity and spend
No,
it.
they use those dollars to pay down debt.
So that's effectively burning the money,
Yes.
which is
If you settle debt, then it's deflationary.
so that's bad because we need more dollars. This is getting rid of dollars.
Right. So it's this process of creating and destroying dollars that happens, which is tied to growth and inflation. So growth and inflation. So growth, which is actual productivity, and inflation, which is the increasing of the money supply. Both those things help with the financial system. And if one or both of them go down, we have a deflationary society. And there's not enough dollars to settle the debt, which is still owed.
So why don't
The
they just
debt is
print
owed.
more money then?
Right. But so the mechanism to print more money is co-opted by the corruption so that the mechanism of printing more money goes to the wolves. And since people don't necessarily understand how the system even works, there's no one guy who sat there and thought of the system. The system evolved in this organic way throughout the entire world in such a way, as Jeff Snyder likes to mention it from Eurodollar University, that you can step off a plane in Japan, go to an ATM, and take money out from your Canadian bank account. That whole system grew over time. And so in Elon Musk, in that same interview, he talks about how at the government, it's like, why haven't they released the Epstein files? Why haven't they done this? He goes, no one knows. No one knows where the payments are going. No one knows what systems to use. No, it's not like someone they become the director and they sit down on a computer and they type in Epstein into a system and they go. You can't even fire people. You have to go down to a mine shaft in order to get their paperwork. No one knows the thing.
I think he implied that Cash Patel wouldn't even know which computer. There's a limited number of computers to access. They won't even show them where the computers are.
That's right. So what you have is that the corruption causes the infinite money glitch machine to spew out to all these different people. And if it happens over a long enough time, then you have, well, my kids depend on this. My status depends on this. My livelihood depends on this. And then you have
On that note, I think from what I understand, the way you prevent there's two ways in order to deal with this threat to his life. One is to have successors who are guaranteed to follow through with the path. So if there's enough successors, you're like, well, killing Elon doesn't solve this problem. Or he needs a dead man switch where the world gets like Putin has. Like, why isn't Putin dead? Like, are they not able to kill Putin? They got a dead man switch.
Or you AIify him.
Or you AF, yeah, I guess that's a new way of doing it. I just don't understand why Trump and Elon, all these people aren't. There's no backups to them. There's no security mechanism.
In that interview, was saying he wasn't even aware of the level of corruption that was even there.
That's so scary to me that the District 1 people, these elites, don't actually understand
They
how
don't.
deep the corruption is. It's like Jimmy Dore says. People think the system is a little corrupt. It's all corrupt.
It's so
It's
corrupt.
I mean, it's not all, but it's so massive that that's why he keeps calling for a revolution. Now I know, talking to you, you say I don't want a revolution. Revolutions kill people. People die in revolutions, and I guess you want this transition. We're going to transition into crypto and AI, the fourth turning, the millennials using technology in order to solve our problems instead of war, because
Which
it's
is
no
always the
external
case.
force. And then you
Technology is
said
always the solution.
aliens. Were you joking about that?
No, I'm saying that the only outside thing we could have to our where we're not looking outside anymore is if aliens are there,
Right.
which might be
Okay.
one of the reasons why those drones showed up over the United States. I don't know. We need an outside force.
They went
Anyways,
way too
but
fast.
so what we're seeing is the because of Triffin's dilemma, because of the idea that any world reserve currency eventually leads to this outcome, right? So United States, what they export, what they produce is dollars.
Right.
They didn't always. They were industrial based, but they create dollars. And because of that, and they have to export it to the rest of the world, you get this resource curse where more and more of the system, the financialization that you hear talk about in late stage capitalism, ends up focusing the whole system on producing these dollars because it's not enough. They have to produce the dollars. But because it's a globally synchronized system, all the other countries that are part of the global dollar system, they need more and more dollars. So they're not actually separate. They're all linked together in that the internal structure of the United States, as it goes down, the external one of the rest of the world goes up. And if the rest of the world goes down, then the United States goes up. Like you have to choose one or the other. And then that, if it torques and you have this contortion where it's not equal, you get this volatility and it breaks.
And you're saying that the corruption is throwing a wrinkle in this, where the dollars aren't going to the right place?
That's right.
Wow.
And so if it was an efficiently run system, you can have the US print the dollars that they need, and they could say, okay, for 4 years at a time, we're going to do it for our people, and for 4 years at a time, let's say we'll do it for the abroad, or 10 years and 10 years, and you'll have this expectation of this ebb and flow, and you'd have systems in place that help regulate it. Okay, I'm going to go through winter here, and it's going to be summer over there, and you can bounce it off in the same way that we do when we're transporting food around the world.
Right.
But because of the corruption system, now it gets siloed, and then you end up with not enough, and you go, why is there a bottleneck, and we can't adjust, and we make a change over here, and it's not, the prediction is not working over there.
Right.
And so that's why I want crypto and AI and robotics helps us quickly implement something, and the crypto allows us to unlock value from things we didn't know had value before. So you get this value creation engine with this unlimited productivity, but we need that to happen after the corruption is gone, or as the corruption is gone, because then we'll supercharge the corruption and we'll end up in destroying ourselves.
Well, there's the problem right there. That corruption ain't going nowhere.
I thought that until Donald Trump.
Bruh, that guy is moments away from the grave. No offense.
If we get some sort of external catalyst, asteroid, solar flare, aliens, whatever, at the same time as this push towards anti-corruption happening, and these tools exist, when needs must, we might actually survive this.
So you're talking about the fourth turning crisis.
Well, it's really a fourth turning, but yes.
And you think that crisis is going to be external?
No.
Or it has to be?
Well, if we get an external shock that everyone has to deal with equally, and they can't blame politically on anything, while this anti-corruption wave is happening, then you have this, well, let's not kill the guy right now, then asteroids come to Earth situation.
Maybe AI becomes too
AI.
powerful.
AI could be
It could be the crisis.
That I hope. Because the system doesn't want the volatility of clarity within the system, but it certainly doesn't want just the whole destruction, that not even any possible of saving it.
Wait, right? Okay. What you're describing is extremely bullish crypto.
Yes.
I mean, if crypto is the solution, Bitcoin solves this, Bitcoin fixes this, and those dominoes keep going, and the corruption gets da 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 da, and the dollars start flowing, and we use crypto and AI and the technology in order to, more permanently fix the system, then you're looking at 1,000,000 Bitcoin.
At least 1,000,000. And then and this is what I was so excited about the strategic reserves, about naming the altcoins as part of the system. It means there's room for these other ones to serve other roles.
Right.
Fine, Bitcoin could be a reserve assets for the monetary system. ADA can be part of the information and the identity network. Solana can be part of entrepreneurship and new businesses and enterprises or whatever. XRP can be used as a stable coins within the global dollar system, all with a decentralized, to whatever degree, decentralized effect, so that all countries can participate in, so that all countries become, like the United States, the ability to generate capital.
You left out one thing there.
What?
Ethereum.
Ethereum is the Netscape of cryptocurrencies. It's great that they introduce us to the idea that you could have a blinking element on the page. But then the novelty wears off, and we're like, we don't need that. We don't need that. Ethereum can go. Some people use Netscape still.
Sure.
Some people use Windows Vista. So,
ironically. All right. Well, this is fascinating. I learned. Look, I'll be honest. I learned more than I wanted to learn. Sounds like an extremely perilous, scary tightrope situation. Trump could be right. Going to be a golden era. Success will bring us together, or Papa Elon and King Trump get taken out. Tulsi will be unplugged from whatever LLM is running her, and Kash Patel can't find the computers to even do anything, and RFK is gonna continue to be ineffective with his voice and communication. He's great. I love him. Okay, I just wish somebody would give him an AI voice. Why the hell? Stephen Hawking had a thing. Haven't we upgraded that thing? Don't we have a better thing?
He likes it. He thinks it's sexy, I think. He likes it.
Well, he is sexy. Have you seen him with a shirt on?
It's my wallpaper. So